What are 5 ways to get better bird photos? If you're anything like me, it's currently March, and I'm waiting for the birds to come back. In Southern Alberta, the birds will start to arrive pretty soon, and I love taking bird pictures. But what are 5 ways that we can get better bird photos? Well, most of them without spending any money. A couple are going to spend money, so you can enjoy the season even more. Well, that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. And believe me, they're all important, not just the first ones and not just the last ones. So watch the entire video. But first, who am I? My name is Mike Patterson. I am a full-time professional photographer located here in Western Canada. I've been doing photography for 41 years. Started out doing nature and wildlife photography. That's where my love of photography is. But I've shot tens of thousands of weddings, grads, everything else. I also own and operate a photo lab, and I teach photography. I love photography. But springtime is so amazing because the birds are returning to Southern Alberta. And it's mating season, and the birds' colors are amazing, and their songs are amazing. So let's get ready to take some amazing bird photos. And if you know anything about my videos, I'll probably give you a lot more than 5. So let's get started. Number 1. And I'm sorry, this one does cost money, but it's well worth it. If you don't have a bigger lens, I mean something around 400 millimeters, 600 millimeters, 800 millimeters, pick yourself up a bigger lens. You would not believe the difference, the zoom ability, the clearness of photos when you're able to bring the subject in closer than trying to use something like a 200 millimeter lens or even a 300 millimeter lens. Get something bigger. Now, I've said in other videos, I'll put a link up top here. I love the Sigma 150 to 600. I absolutely love it. I got an arthritis flare-up today, and it hurts like crazy, but I can still carry this lens. Whereas when you get bigger lenses, they're harder to carry. I love this lens, but getting a bigger lens allows you to get in closer to your subject, and it's just so much easier. You get so many photographic opportunities. Now, I'm going to throw one thing in here, and like I said, I give more than 5. But if you don't have a ton of lenses, if you are considering adding a bigger lens, a more expensive lens, I would also consider switching to mirrorless, and this hurts big time to say it. This is a Canon R5 Mark IV. I love this camera. I love this lens combination. I have no real need to switch to mirrorless, but if you don't have a lot of lenses, a lot of money invested, switching from a DSLR camera will give you better tracking features in a mirrorless camera than what you get in a DSLR camera. Now, believe me when I say this, you do not need a mirrorless camera. And anyone who tells you you have to have a mirrorless camera to get good pictures, yeah, I won't say what I'm thinking because it's not pleasant. But I would strongly recommend, it's 2026, and if you're building a good stock of lenses, if you're buying some higher end, more expensive lenses, if you don't have a lot of lenses at this point, I would recommend going with a mirrorless camera now rather than later. It just saves money and just a whole bunch of other problems. So that's the first thing. Second thing, shoot with a higher ISO. I see so many people that struggle to get focused pictures, sharp pictures, because they're shooting with 100 ISO because they've heard before that shoot with the lowest ISO possible, so they crank their ISO way down. No. It's better to shoot with a higher ISO. Many cameras today, if your camera was built in the last 5 years, many of the cameras today you can easily shoot at 1600 ISO, easily, and not see a ton of grain. So I strongly recommend higher ISO. It just helps so much. It helps you to stop the action. It helps you to freeze the bird. It just works so much better. All right, the next thing, and this is one that I love to use, and that is the back focus button. The back focus button takes off the focus off of the shutter, if you set it up properly, and allows you just to focus using the back button. Why is this so good? Because it allows you to lock on a bird, get your focus, recompose if you want, or wait, and then take a picture. Many times when a bird is returning to a nest or you know where the bird is going to be, you can pre-focus on that area and take pictures and get better pictures by doing it. I much prefer using the back focus button for any wildlife than any other way of shooting. So get to know how to use the back focus button, use it, get comfortable with it, and you'll find you get much, much better pictures and a lot more keepers. Another area that I like to use for birds, or another setting I like to use for birds, is I like to use shutter priority. Now, you can use shutter priority, aperture priority, you can use manual, you can use program mode, you can use anything. It really, truthfully, it's entirely up to you. Why do I like shutter priority over all the other modes? Because along with my ISO being turned up higher, I can turn my shutter speed up to a higher setting than what I would normally use for most photographs. And this allows me to stop the birds in motion, and it just makes for nicer looking pictures. You get less movement in the wings and the face and the beak and all of these areas. You can stop water droplets when they're rolling off of the beak. You can just do so much more with a higher ISO. Now, I know people are going to say, well, with today's camera and with the great image stabilizing, image stabilizing is one thing, but stopping motion, image stabilizing does not stop motion. And this is one of the big lies that are out there with a lot of people. And I've mentioned it before when I started into photography. People said, use a tripod and you'll never have a blurry picture again. I had just as many blurry pictures with a tripod as without a tripod. Why? Because my subject was moving. Turn your ISO up higher and you'll find you get much, much clearer, crisper, more stop motion pictures than you would in the other modes. All right, what else? Well, this is one that this one annoys me. I wanted to say something else. This one really annoys me. But stop going out between 10 and 3 in the day. Please start going out early morning, late at night, in the evening. Why? For many reasons, but birds are more active in the early morning and late at night. If it gets hot, birds like to be out when it's cool. Birds are more confident when it's not high noon. And the colors look better. The little bit of shadowing that you get looks better than shooting during the worst time of the day, between like 10 and 2, 10 and 3, 10 and 4. Go out early morning, go out in early evening. Now, myself, I'll admit 100%, not an early morning person to get out. Why? Because I'm just not. By the time you get up, get breakfast, head out to a location only to find out that it's windy or that it's overcast or something isn't right. So I prefer to go out in the early evening. That's just me personally. Next point, do your research ahead of time. Facebook has so many groups. Around Southern Alberta here, we have so many bird groups, and they will tell you when the birds are in an area. I've seen people go out and waste days looking for a bird that hasn't even come back yet. Do your research ahead of time. Find where the popular spots are for the species that you're looking for. Now, I don't say, and this one bothers me as well, I don't say go out with 500 other people and photograph the exact same bird. We have a group that goes out and photographs the same owl almost every week. That's just, to me, I actually stay away from the owl because I don't want the same pictures as everybody else. But find out where people have gone, find out where the birds are, go online and find out when they come back. In Southern Alberta, sandhill cranes, I know they're already in the States. I know that they're in Washington State. I know they're in BC, but they're not in Southern Alberta. So for me to go looking for sandhill cranes right now, it's totally useless. But in 2 weeks, 3 weeks' time, they will be back. So stay online, stay up to date on stuff, do your research. All right, the next thing. And this is going to sound really stupid because, hey, this is a photography video, but I'm going to talk about something else. Take bug spray. Believe me, take bug spray. Birds like where it's wet. Birds like where it's marshy and muddy. And there's nothing worse than to get to some place to take some pictures and you are being attacked like crazy by the mosquitoes. Take the bug spray so that you can be comfortable. Take a chair so you can sit in a chair. Take water with you. Take food with you. Be comfortable when you're out shooting. And finally, what's this, number 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever it is? The last thing. Stop taking pictures standing up all the time. Get lower on the ground and take pictures from a lower angle. I tell this to people constantly with kids. Everybody seems to stand up and photograph down on kids. It's the same with birds. Everybody's always standing up and photographing down on birds. So you see the top of the head, you see the back. Take pictures from an angle lower down and you'll get much more exciting pictures. You'll get much more enjoyable pictures. It's not always possible. I know. I'm not saying that you have to do it every time. I'm saying just change up how you take pictures and you'll be much happier with the pictures that you get. So there's a bunch of ideas. Let's see if I forgot anything. Nope, it looks like I covered off everything I wanted to cover off. So I hope you get out there. I hope you take some amazing bird pictures. Let me know where you like to go out and what type of birds you like to photograph. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great day and enjoy the beautiful weather. Bye-bye now.